right, so today we're going to break down the business model of a company called Coding Union. This is a company that calls itself a complete business architect, and they offer this surprisingly wide range of services. I mean, everything from writing software to literally installing physical signs. So how do they connect these two totally different worlds? Let's find out. So this is it, right? The big question every founder, every CEO has to ask themselves. You've got the idea, you've got the passion, but what are the actual steps to build something that lasts? Something that really dominates its market? That's a whole other beast. And, it feels like you need to hire a dozen different companies just to get off the ground. And that's where this whole idea comes in. Before you do anything, lay a single brick, write a single line of code, you need a plan, a blueprint. And that's the metaphor Coding Union uses for their whole process. It's about turning this super complex journey into something structured, kind of like building a house. Okay, so this line right here, it says a lot about how big they're thinking. The key word is dominance, and not just online or offline, but both, digital and physical dominance. That tells you right away, they're not just selling you a website here or a logo there, they're going for the whole shebang, a totally integrated strategy. All right, so let's start at the very beginning, just like any big project should, the blueprint. This is all about getting the strategy and the plan right from the get-go, making sure what you end up building is actually going to work. They have a cool name for this first step, clarity before code. And the whole point is that they absolutely insist on doing the deep strategic work first. This is not just some quick brainstorm session. We're talking detailed consulting, mapping out the software with wireframes, and really nailing down the brand's identity all before a single dollar is spent on expensive development. So here's how that process actually breaks down. You can see the logic here, right? It starts big picture with the business strategy, then it gets more specific into the technical planning and design. And finally, it layers on the creative side, the brand identity. It's all about going from this abstract idea to a concrete plan of attack. Okay, so the blueprint is locked in. What's next? Well, now it's time to start building. This is the digital construction phase. This is where that plan becomes real and they start to build out the business's home on the internet. And when it comes to building, they've got two main flavors. On one side, you've got your standard websites. You can think of these as the beautiful functional storefronts that just give out information. But then on the other side, you've got these custom web applications. These are the heavy machinery. Think of them like a factory, a high-performance platform built to run the complicated core parts of the business. And this is the toolbox they use to back up that architect claim. You can see they're specialized in the big e-commerce players like Shopify, but also in some really specific niche industries. And what's really crucial here is that they also handle the plumbing in the background, integrating things like your CRM and ERP systems, the stuff that actually keeps the business running. All right, so the digital house is built, it looks great, it works perfectly, but there's nobody inside. So what's the next logical step in their all-in-one service? Getting people in the door. And that brings us to marketing and branding. So they don't just see marketing as a checklist of things to do. They see it as an engine. You can see how all these pieces are meant to work together. You've got the foundation, SEO, working with the more active stuff like ads, content, and social media. It's all designed to be one big growth machine. Let's dig a little deeper into those services. First off, look at the SEO. They're covering all the bases, on-page, off-page, and technical. This is way more than just stuffing keywords onto a page. Then they pair that with paid ads, SEM, and they're also actively managing your online reputation. Plus, they're actually creating the content, from the words on your site to even sending out SMS campaigns. It's the whole package, from strategy to actually doing the work. But hey, getting people's attention isn't just about search rankings, right? It's also about how you look. And that's where this comes in. It's all about creating a consistent look and feel for the brand everywhere it shows up, from the logo to the business cards to how the app feels and even the graphics on your social media. And here's where things get really interesting. This question makes you stop and think. What happens when your brand steps off the screen and into the real world? How does it look and feel out there? And that brings us to the fourth major part of their whole architect model. They take that brand, the one they planned out and built in code, and they make it real, tangible, with print and signs. Now, this line is super important. This is what makes them different from just any old print shop. They're not just gonna hand you a banner and say good luck. No, they handle the whole process, making it and then actually installing it. They make sure it looks good out there on the street. And this is what that real-world presence actually includes. We're talking everything from the business cards on your desk all the way up to those giant signs and billboards you see on the highway. The goal here is total brand saturation. Okay, so we're almost to the end of the build, but there's one final and honestly often overlooked piece of the puzzle. You've built this amazing digital empire. You've got a physical presence. Now you've got to protect it all. And that's where security and surveillance come into the picture. And their security solutions seem pretty thorough. It's not like they just sell you some cameras and walk away. Their motto covers permanent installation, but also rentals if you just need something for an event. And most importantly, they do the ongoing maintenance to make sure the whole system actually works when you need it to. It's a complete plan.
So let's zoom out for a second. When you look at everything we just walked through, you see what their main selling point is. It's what they call the single source advantage. That entire journey, from idea to reality, is all handled by one team.
And really, the whole idea is to make things simple. Because they handle everything single step, they take this incredibly complex process of building a business and boil it down to just one point of contact, one partner for everything. So let's just run through that one more time because the scope is pretty massive. It all starts with the plan, the blueprint. Then comes the build, the web development. Then you have to get people there. That's the marketing. Then you expand into the real world with physical signs, and finally, you protect it all with security. Every single piece is connected.
And that brings us to the final question, and it's a good one. When you see a model like this, all integrated, it really makes you think about your own business. Are all the pieces, your website, your marketing, your signs, are they all working together as one cohesive strategy? Or are they just a bunch of separate things you're doing? It's a really powerful question to ask yourself.